40, Day 1. Rhetoric. Use, sometimes exaggerated, of language.
At a time that requires tangible proposals, all he offers is unconscionable rhetoric.
Clique. Small, exclusive group of people.
It is not long before a young star has a clique around him, who sporadically get their names into the newspapers.
Extol. Praise highly.
Youngsters scoff when their elders extol the halcyon days of long ago.
Mentor. Counselor, coach, tutor.
Amidst the adulation of the throng, the film star, in all humility, credited her mentor as the one most responsible.
Facile. Easily accomplished or attained.
The detective interrogated the adamant prisoner in such a facile way that he confessed after giving incontrovertible evidence.
To live in a fool's paradise. To be happy without a real basis.
He lived in a fool's paradise while he sowed wild oats, but he soon had to pay the piper.
A political show. The 2012 elections offered another example of politics as show business. Most politicians have prepared speeches dealing with the prevalent topics of the day. They can maintain a fervid flow of rhetoric for hours at a time. In each locality where he is to appear, the advance work is prepared by a clique of trustworthy aides. In preparation for the show, they have dispersed leaflets, put up posters, and sent out cars and trucks with loudspeakers to extol the erudite qualities of their candidate. Soon, the crowd gathers. Loyal party workers come forward to shake the hand of their mentor. Now, with the facile solutions to complex problems carefully memorized, the show is ready to begin. One moment facetious, the next moment profound, the candidate works to convince the incredulous among the voters.
Week 40, Day 2. Cant. Insincere or almost meaningless talk.
The diplomat was astute enough to see through the cant of the Machiavellian ambassador.
Umbrage. Resentment, offense.
I was flabbergasted when he took umbrage at my whimsical remarks.
Magnanimous. Generous, noble.
A somber examination of those indigent families, bereft of hope, sunken in apathy, should motivate us to be more magnanimous in our attempts to improve their lot.
Vilify. Malign, slander.
We feel so sanctimonious when we vilify the character of a felon.
Elucidate. To make clear.
The judge ordered the censor to elucidate his reasons for removing passages from the book in such a capricious manner.
The sum and substance. The heart or substantial part.
The sum and substance of our Pyrrhic victory was that our hopes for a stable future had gone up in smoke.
Getting a good look. The television press interview is conducive to close scrutiny of a candidate. His public speeches may contain many cant phrases, but a sharp question by an astute reporter can destroy a cliché-filled statement. The politician now will procrastinate in his answer. A new facet of his personality may be revealed by his demeanor. Perhaps he will take umbrage at a suggestion that he favors the affluent. His record is searched for evidence that he has been equally magnanimous to the indigent. He accuses the reporter of attempting to vilify him. Is he being accused of turpitude in office? It is time to discreetly go on to another topic. The candidate wishes to extol the virtues of his program and record. The press wants to allude to things that keep him in the midst of controversy. They insist that he elucidate positions that the politician would rather leave in a nebulous state.
Week 40, Day 3. Vapid. Uninteresting, dull.
As a concomitant to his belligerent and vituperative antipathy toward his government, he became an expatriate, but he found it a vapid life.
Unwieldy. Bulky, difficult to handle.
Kyra was so disgruntled about having to move the unwieldy piano, she procrastinated for days.
Proximity. Nearness.
As the scion of an affluent family, he was often in proximity to opulence.
Lassitude. Weariness, weakness.
After playing with his progeny in the enervating sun, he staggered back to his room, where he was overcome with lassitude.
Vitiate. Destroy the use or value.
The irrelevant evidence seemed to vitiate the prosecutor's case and precluded a conviction.
On pins and needles. To be on edge, jumpy.
He was on pins and needles while he cooled his heels in the principal's office.
Seeing is learning. While we are all cognizant of the importance of words to create certain impressions, gesture is relegated to a much lesser role. Gestures are an important concomitant to even the most vapid speech, enhancing it and giving the hearer something to look at while he listens. The value of seeing at the same time as listening was shown when a class at a university, unwieldy because of its large size, was split up. One group was put into a room in proximity to good loudspeakers. Every nuance of the lecturer's voice could be heard clearly. Because they had no person on whom to place their attention, they soon took on the appearance of extreme lassitude. Most students became lethargic and rested their heads on their desks. The separation of visual and oral communication tended to vitiate the learning process. The listening group received grades lower than those received by those who could look at as well as hear the instructor.
Week 40, Day 4. Augment. Enlarge, increase.
The parsimonious octogenarian sought to augment his wealth by removing it from its cache and placing it in a bank.
Fatuous. Foolish, silly, inane.
The new employee wanted to gain favor with his boss, and his obsequious desires led to the most fatuous behavior.
Contort. Twist violently.
The paroxysm of coughing served to contort her body until she could gain a respite.
Repertoire. Works that an artist is ready to perform.
Her virtuosity was demonstrated by the works she performed from her repertoire.
Imperceptible. Extremely slight or gradual.
He had always appeared virile, so that the imperceptible decline toward senility went unnoticed, until he succumbed and began to use a cane.
To have at one's fingertips. To have thorough knowledge, to have ready.
He had at his fingertips an extensive repertoire.
The hammy old days. Actors depend upon their ability to gesticulate almost as much as upon speech to obtain their desired histrionic effects. With them, gesture serves much more than merely to augment speech. When their communication is by gesture alone, it is called pantomime. In the early silent motion picture period, gestures were flamboyant. To show that he was distraught about the danger in which the heroine had been placed, the hero would go through the most fatuous actions. He would stagger, beat his breast, tear his hair, and contort his face into the most doleful appearance. There weren't many simple or restrained gestures in his repertoire. The heroine, to indicate her love, would fling her arms wide and ardently jump into her sweetheart's arms. It was only much later that actors became skilled enough to communicate with the audience through discreet gestures and almost imperceptible changes in facial expression that could transmit nuances of emotion.